What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Movie Mob Podcast here. We get another week of great topics. The season finale of Succession. Martin Scorsese forgetting he already made a movie about Jesus. And we got a brand new trailer for Greta Gerwig's Barbie. All this on the Movie Mob Podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Movie Mob Podcast here. Episode 51 in studio. As I said, we got a great list of topics this week. We're joined by Matt, as always, in the chair next to me.
What's going on, man?
You know, we're a little closer, like the old days, back when we started this thing.
Listen, the closer I am to RJ, the happier I am.
And that's all right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then Nick, still far away, but doing the same stuff as always.
Far away in physical nature, but close in your heart.
Yep.
That's what
Amen.
matters,
Right?
you know?
Well, let's get into this. We got some good movie news to talk about. And the first one is a brand new trailer for Greta Gerwig's Barbie. Oh, Jesus. Can't speak. We saw one trailer for this. It was a teaser trailer.
We did.
We didn't really know about the plot of it. We got obviously an idea of the portrayals of these characters. Obviously, it's tough to make a Barbie movie. I think you asked.
Yeah, that first teaser, I didn't know what it was about at all.
Yeah, exactly. There was no story. We see this trailer, and it's kind of as we predicted. Barbie lives in her own kind of world. She gets like thrusted out of it and goes into the real world, and it's the real world where Barbie is a toy, and that like Mattel, the company, still exists, and like
the real
she's
world
broken out of there,
right?
And now she's in there. It's kind of a fish out of water type movie. I don't know. This trailer changed it a bit for me. I thought the first one was kind of funny and cute, but this one, I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't laugh very much. But, Matt, what'd you think of this? Obviously, you're excited for the Dua Lipa music.
Well, RJ, I'm seeing this movie regardless.
No, I'll still see it.
I mean, this trailer could have been Barbie banging her head against the wall for 2 minutes. It wouldn't have mattered
with
for
a
me.
Dua Lipa track in the back.
That would have been actually better. No, for me, dude, I mean, I'm not seeing this movie. I know, like, you know, whatever you think about the trailer, I'm not seeing this movie for the plot. I don't care what the plot is. I'm seeing it for Dua Lipa, Margot Robbie,
and
Ryan Gosling. And how like it just looks like aesthetically I feel like Greta Gerwig, you can just tell from this trailer aesthetically and like visually she captured Barbie in that sense already. So I could give a shit what the movie's about. It reminds me a little bit of Elf. You know what I mean?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Thank you. And Elf is a great movie.
Yeah, it's like I thought of the same thing when she's like traveling through the image. I thought of like him when he passes by the narwhal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like that whole thing. Buddy. Yeah. I wonder if that plays into why they casted Will Ferrell.
Well, listen, there you go. I mean, yeah.
Nick, what do you think here?
I don't know. Some of it seems like it could be interesting. So I guess, okay, from what I gathered from that trailer, right? Barbie lives in Barbie land with all the Barbies and Kens of the world.
Sure.
And then asks the question, anybody ever think about dying? And I'm assuming that is the catalyst for the option to learn about real life versus, you know.
Very Don't Worry, Darling.
The red pill and the blue pill.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, Matrix, Don't Worry, Darling, Elf, all these things of like you can continue on this.
Fish out of water.
Yeah. Right? And that's an interesting take. One thing I didn't get was the guy assaults her in the trailer. She punches the guy for assaulting her, which is technically self-defense, and then ends up in jail. There's got to be something in the middle there where she does something wrong.
Yeah. But she stabs him after.
Yeah, you don't know.
The movie's very
interesting.
You guys ever watch Robot Chicken?
I've seen
but
stuff.
I'm familiar with it.
It's like a stop-motion animation show, but they use like Barbie dolls, and it's like yeah. So and like action
I've
figures
seen the
and stuff.
Star Wars clips.
Very adult graphic. Oh, it's so funny. No, it's hilarious, and they use like Barbies and stuff. So when you said Barbie stabbing is what made me think of it. I mean, I feel like that could be an interesting take. I don't know if I don't know, man.
I'm just wondering.
Barbie
I mean, it's Barbie. Like,
it's
you know,
Barbie.
who gives a shit?
I'm wondering if like an hour into the movie, are the jokes with like them not understanding anything in the real world going to get old? You know what I'm saying? Is that shtick going to last for like be funny for the first few times, and then you're like, this is annoying?
You guys are 5-ish years younger than me. I don't know if you know. Okay, so Tyra Banks did a Disney Channel original movies, a DCOM, way back in the day. Tyra, when she was still a model and everything, she did a Disney Channel original movie. I think it was called Life Size, where Lindsay Lohan, young Lindsay Lohan, wishes that her doll, her Barbie doll,
Oh, I remember
Black
that movie.
Barbie.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
And
Yeah.
it comes alive.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was the same exact types of jokes. She thinks she can type. She just starts doing this on the keyboard, and then it doesn't type anything. I wonder if it's going to be a more expensive take on something like that. I know there's no little girl involved, and but it was very. And then she falls in love with the father, and she becomes a real. I don't know.
I
it's all
still
bullshit,
don't know
dude.
who this movie's made for.
Everyone.
Like, is it? Do you think so?
They said if you like Barbie, if you hate Barbie, this is the movie for
so
you.
you think this is a movie kids are going to be able to go to?
Oh, yeah.
That I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think so.
Or is it more of like the adults that grew up with Barbie?
Yeah.
Like, would a mom who grew up with Barbie like take her daughter to go see this? Because I still don't know tonally. Like, is it going to get inappropriate? Like, they do make some innuendo jokes.
In the trailer, Barbie literally says, "Do you guys ever think about dying?"
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's kind of
and like
for a 6-year-old.
Last
Like
time I played with Barbie, I was 6. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I'm just curious. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be. I'm done watching trailers. I'll go into it.
You know what? I think it's interesting enough to make me want to go see it.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, here we go, kids movie, whatever, blah blah. And it's
like,
not
I'll
like
still
all about,
enjoy it even if it's really bad.
Yeah, I think it could be
it's like
interesting.
one of
And I
those.
love Will Ferrell. I think
Oh,
he's
he's great.
hilarious.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, I think he'll have an interesting take on it, which kind of
Speaking of Will Ferrell,
leads you into your next thing.
topic. He's got a movie come out. Well, he's in talks. He's in talks to play John Madden, the obviously the famous NFL coach and the namesake of the video game. Basically, from what I understand, is this movie is going to be more about the origins of the game itself and not really like a biopic about his life. At this stage,
Kind of like Air was with regard to the Jordan as opposed to,
exactly. And the director is David O. Russell, who he did American Hustle. He's done some decent movies there. Definitely an interesting idea for a movie. I don't really know the story behind the game. Could be wicked interesting, and I just don't know. And also interesting casting here with Will Ferrell. Now, Matt, you're a big football guy,
Love
sidelined,
football. Yeah.
big show. John Madden, you played the games. What do you think of this?
I mean, listen, I don't think anyone's ever said I need a John Madden movie.
Right.
You're like, I need to find out how it all began, the Madden franchise. I don't think anyone's ever said that. You know what I mean?
It was probably some guy was like, we're making a football game.
Yeah.
You want a bunch of money to put your name on?
Yeah, and he was like the biggest commentator at the time, so they just threw him
that's what it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
he was the biggest commentator, which is why they got the name.
I mean, listen, dude, it's funny you mentioned Air. I actually watched it last night for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Very good movie. I really liked it. But you're right. It's not about Michael Jordan. It's just kind of about like the process in which it got, So I feel like if they go that route, that could be good.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not like overly like, oh, can't wait for this one. But man, I would, it'd be nice to see Will Ferrell back in a leading role.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this wouldn't be like kind of one of those cheap like comedies he's done within the past like 5-10 years. Like this would actually be like maybe a more serious role.
Yep.
Kind of like Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems.
Yes.
So, dude, I don't know, man. If like, this actually happens, like about me, and like I like football. I'm just a football fan.
Yep.
So I'll probably end up seeing it just because I'd be interested. And I just like football and John Madden. So.
Now, what do you think of Will Ferrell in that role? Could you see him as
good.
John Madden?
John Madden's like known for being like a colorful guy.
Yeah.
Like that's why like makes him like such like a iconic figure in the football world. So I think Will Ferrell, he could pack on a few pounds,
Yeah,
but
I think
I think he definitely could pull that off. I think it's good casting.
Put a wig on.
There you
like
go.
That.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nick?
I like it. I like it. Why not? I think it could be interesting. I like Will Ferrell. I think Madden's a big dude, huh?
Yeah, he's a hunk.
Some of these
Big hoss.
yeah.
He's a big personality to like kind
he
of
is.
replicate too.
He is.
Yeah. Do you know who Frank Caliendo is? He's like,
I love Frank Kelly.
He does a good,
Yeah, he
a
does.
good Madden.
Yeah, and
does
Morgan
a good,
Freeman.
yeah.
Oh, he's
just-
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great. But he's an impersonator. He does a good John Madden. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think
David O. Russell, he's coming off Amsterdam.
Oof.
That was his last movie.
not good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
that's
great.
bad.
He did Silver Linings Playbook, though. I do like that movie.
Underrated. You know who would have been good as John Madden and Chris Farley if he was still alive?
Dude, I was saying the
He
same
looks
thing the other day.
exactly
Yeah.
like he has that same kind of charisma,
Yep.
that same like larger than life personality, and he's already big enough.
Yep.
But he's dead.
Or one of the Belushi brothers.
You
the
know,
one that passed.
we'll use the
another
time
guy that
stone.
was
Turn
not-
back the clock.
Right. Turn back the clock. Bang, bang, clock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brendan Merriweather.
I don't know. I'm not too excited for this until probably once I see a trailer and I understand more what this movie is kind of going to focus
Yeah,
on.
I'll forget this exists until
Yeah,
you
exactly.
send me the
You're
trailer
gonna
in the group chat.
Trailer's going to pop up in a year and you'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Before we move
Yeah.
on to the next one, can we talk just because Matt said that he watched it last night or whatever? I just wanted to ask:
Good movie.
was that the first time that you watched Air?
Yeah, I watched first time last
Oh,
night.
you watched it.
Yeah,
Nice.
first time last night. Good movie, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
movie.
how did you feel about the not showing Michael Jordan?
I kind of liked it.
I liked it too.
There were points where I kind of liked it and points where I was a little annoyed by it because it like almost the not showing him almost got in the way of. Like, because when he's like right there in the room, like
Yeah.
it didn't matter to me when they didn't show him or like that he wasn't involved in the talks. Like when Matt Damon goes to the house and sits with Viola Davis, right? And she's like, it's not time to talk to him yet. Okay, fine. But like, imagine if you're the guy playing Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
And like the movie's like, and you're like, you never even
know.
get seen.
Right,
Like,
and
you're
it's
nobody.
like this the scene when they're doing the big speech at the end, the pitch, like the blocking is always having like his back.
I just
you
thought
know?
that was kind of bizarre.
The reason I liked it, and it's probably the reason that they did it, was because it's more about kind of showing how big his name is.
Sure,
You know what I'm saying?
listen,
he's like bigger than a person.
I
in
like
a
the
way.
movie. I like the movie, but I just thought there were certain points where I'm like, okay,
right.
like okay,
But
you
then,
know?
you're also avoiding though people going, "Oh, he doesn't look like Michael Jordan. Oh, he doesn't
100%
sound like
agree.
Michael." Like, and when really that's not the focus of the movie.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, no, you're absolutely right, 100%. I thought Matt Damon did really well. Definitely packed on a few for that.
He was
role.
good.
He was,
My favorite part was Ben Affleck as Phil Knight.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, dude.
yeah, it was
He's talking about feet.
he was my
Yeah.
least favorite
Really?
character.
Yeah,
he
you didn't
didn't
like-
like it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was my
Really?
least favorite character. Yeah,
Oh, I thought he was good.
it's just funny. I hated him. I
thought,
hated him.
what's his name was good. Jason Bateman.
Yeah, he was
I
Oh,
like him.
so good.
Yeah, I
Very,
like him
very
in,
good.
in like those more dramatic roles. Marty Bird. You got to watch Ozark, Matt. I
Sure.
think you'd like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
Ozark.
It's worth the time.
Ozark was kind of slow for me. I don't know.
That's fair.
I watched part of the first season and I was like, wah, wah, I'm
Yeah.
out.
Well, finish it out, would you?
I will. Yeah.
But
who knows?
let's talk about some big exciting stuff here.
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese. We were talking about him last week for Killers of the Flower Moon, which premiered at Cannes. Rave reviews all around. But he just announced after Cannes, he had the Pope held like a meeting for like artists from all around the world, talking about how they could like involve like the Christian message and stuff in like their work. Martin Scorsese attended this, and he announced there that he was going to make a Jesus film. Like he said, he was writing it, and it might be his next movie. Now, obviously, the big joke all over is Marty's already made a film about Jesus, The Last Temptation of Christ with Willem Dafoe. Great movie, underrated. Watch it if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because he's already done it. I mean, listen, Marty's never been shy about his religious influence on his films.
Yeah.
Well, he's previously he was a lapsed Catholic, but I think he's kind of refound faith. He said a lot during interviews that he like used filmmaking to kind of find his faith in a way. I mean, Silence is a great example of his like use of those themes and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know. This is interesting. I mean, it's Martin Scorsese making a biopic about one of the most famous historical figures ever. So
Well, we don't know if it's a biopic though.
right.
We just
But
know it's a film.
The reason I
about
wonder
Jesus.
if it's a biopic is because The Last Temptation of Christ wasn't really a biopic. It was very much just that end portion of Jesus' life. And then obviously it takes an interesting turn there, the way they approach it. It was based off a novel, but
I wonder like what he's gonna do. Like, cause Mel Gibson
yeah, The Passion of the
did
Christ
Passion
is a
of
good
the Christ, and then there obviously were. I'm sorry, Matt. Go. Matt.
Oh no, you go ahead.
No.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just sorry.
No.
I
Go
just-
ahead.
I as a Catholic, like it's the most famous story in the whole world.
So it's up there. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you love him or hate him, Jesus, or you're just or you
Yeah.
believe in something else. His life story has kind of been done a time or two. It's been
Yeah,
told.
yeah, yeah.
It's been told a couple
Yeah.
of different ways. So I you're right. I don't know.
And they had that show, The Chosen, which it was airing. It was like that streaming show that followed his life, and it got like really good reviews and popularity.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely been done a lot before, but I wouldn't say it's been done great many times.
I think Passion of the Christ is really well done.
Yeah.
I will say, forget like the religious aspect of it. Imagine like, this is so blasphemous to say, but I'm saying just for the sake of talking about movies, right? And stories of characters. If the story of Jesus had been come up with by like a filmmaker today, and it wasn't a thing, right? If religion wasn't a thing, but then it was like a Harry Potter type character where someone just came up, like it's a brilliant story. I mean, there's tons of cool aspects of stuff. I think when you tie in the fact that there are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people that believe this is the Son of God, that really aids in it. But I think one thing that's interesting is that it also allows for some slacking, which I hope they don't do. Like, I feel like devout Christians and Catholics and all this other stuff, anything to do with Jesus, they're just going to say it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that it is still.
Oh yeah, because then you get those like religious Christian films that are like the cheesy ones that are which like I don't think anyone really enjoys. But no, I mean I'm pumped for this. I mean, it's one of the greatest filmmaker, some would argue, and a huge historical figure. I'm curious. I mean, The Last Temptation is really interesting because he got a lot of flack for that movie because that book like plays into the idea that Jesus was in love with Mary Magdalene. And then obviously it, without spoiling too much, it shows what his life would have been if he wasn't the Son of God and like has kids and like lives a life. So like people who were like very religious obviously were heavily against that take, but I thought it was really interesting. So obviously this has got to be different, but what do you think, Matt?
Well, is he going to be, I mean, how old's Marty? Is he going to be around to, get
That's
this done?
That's a good point.
I made the joke to RJ, one last movie about Jesus before he goes to meet him.
I mean, listen, no offense. My first thought is, I mean, let's focus on, health, Marty, let's get some rest. He just made this big movie.
80.
Kills it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a spry 80.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very
spry. He's
spry.
He's a king,
dude. Smile on him.
He's a king.
I'll give him spry. All right. No, I mean, listen.
Look at those eyebrows.
I feel like short people live longer.
Let me tell you. Let me know who.
Great, I'm out.
Let me know who you have as the big guy, and we'll come back to me.
I feel like who would you say? Who do you think is would be
like 20 years ago though?
No, today. No dead Chris Farley castings. I'm saying. Who would you say today on the slate of actors could legitimately play Jesus?
The question is, does he go with
Ricky
the
Rubio.
traditional like white guy, or does he go to probably how Jesus actually would have looked, which was like more like Middle Eastern?
Oh, it could be interesting.
I think
who's the guy who's in the Green Knight? What's the name of that?
Oh, Dev Patel.
Yeah, what's his?
Dev Patel is.
I don't know.
I believe he's.
I feel like he can grow a nice beard, right?
Let me check that.
They need long hair and a nice beard.
Not a bad pick.
Thank you.
Yeah,
dude, I could see him.
Dario Naharis from Game of Thrones.
Maybe.
Yeah. Let me see where he's from.
I was thinking
He's
the guy.
British actor. I like that. I mean, he's got the look. He's got the facial hair.
Who else? Be Dario Naharis from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, his parents are Indian.
Vigo.
Yeah, Vigo would have been good.
He would have been perfect.
I think
20 years
otherwise
ago.
you go with an unknown actor. The question is, would Scorsese want to work with like an unknown actor?
I feel like he
at
would.
this stage in his career.
Sure, I don't see why not. Because he's
That's
not an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. See, that's hopefully
Right.
it's De Niro.
De Niro.
De Niro with the 3 cameras. They de-aged De Niro.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, listen,
arthritic Jesus walking around.
Right. This to me would be a good bookend to his career. Obviously, I hope he makes 10 more movies, but if this was the last movie that he makes, I feel like considering all the religious themes in his film work, like even if you go back to Mean Streets, like Harvey Keitel's like going to church and like that's kind of that like personal struggle.
Well,
in
he
that
grew
film.
up a Roman Catholic with Italian American
Yep.
household, so it's not abnormal.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm there. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there for the 4-hour.
I need more info. I need more.
100%.
You know what I mean? I need more info.
It really came out of nowhere, which makes me wonder: is this movie going to actually happen, or did he just say that to make the Pope happy?
He said he's making it.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
Goodfellas 2. All right. Well, that's all we got for movie news topics today. I will say, side thing, not a big topic, but Nosferatu, Robert Eggers' movie, just wrapped filming. So we're getting that.
Yeah, and we
soon.
mentioned
Probably
that a
gonna
few
get it. Yeah, we
months ago.
did. So I'm excited for that. But Matt, thanks for joining us as always. We don't have any fan questions. No fan questions were sent in.
I will say, and I want to know and leave
Sure.
a comment down below if you want us to review it, because I watched a season of it. Black Mirror's premiere, or the trailer for Black Mirror season 6 came
I
out.
watched like a few sporadic episodes of that show, but
You don't like it?
some of them were good in isolation. But
Ginny and Georgia, that's where
yeah,
it's at.
that's where Matt's
It's a
at
good
right
show.
now.
I'm telling you, it's a good show, man.
And someone, when I did my live stream on Sunday, somebody asked us to review The Bear on Hulu.
I've heard good things about the Bear.
Yeah.
With the kid from Shameless.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Actually, I've heard that's
I think
good,
Bob
actually.
Odenkirk just joined the cast of season 2, or someone else big.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
cool thing is it's from the beginning. Like, we did Succession the
Right,
last season,
right.
so if there's something to review, I think you'd like it. I watched a couple
Really?
episodes of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we'll check it out.
Yeah, I've
Maybe
heard,
we'll
I've
check
heard
it
good
out.
things.
It's
about
Ted
decent.
Lasso finale today.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah? Is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
did you watch? Have you watched any of Barry? Either of you watch any of Barry?
I heard the finale wasn't good.
It wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't good. And thank God it premiered on the same day as Succession.
I was gonna
because-
say, what a stupid move by them.
I know.
Why don't you run
know.
those shows at different times?
Or different days.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're on to The Idol, unfortunately. So, Matt, thanks,
Look at Matt. He's all
I'm
excited.
excited.
I know.
thanks for joining us, Matt, as
Yeah.
always.
Yep.
We'll see him next week. You got any final words for the people?
Yeah, I'll say this. A lot of people aren't qualified for their jobs. You know, you ever think about that? You just look around, you go,
Amen.
Should this person be working here?
Sure.
Yeah. All
I
right,
do. I
that's-
do it every day. I look around.
I go-
Should these people be working here?
I go, I don't, this isn't good.
Yeah.
So that's
Interesting.
all I have to say. Think about that.
All right.
All right.
God bless.
Bye, Matt.
All right. So here we are. Succession season 4 finale, series finale. That's it. It's done. What a time it's been reviewing this. Thank you guys all for watching all these reviews this whole season. It really blew by. This series blew by in a good way. You know, they say good times, they go fast. But what a finale. What an end to this series here. Nick and I haven't really talked about it. Obviously, Nick did a little live stream after the episode, which
Yeah,
had a
right
lot of
after.
traction. Good stuff. Great commentary from the people, Nick.
It was cool. It was
Yeah.
it was a cool thing. We might do more live streams. I might
Yeah.
do like little weekly ones or something. I
Mhm.
don't know.
It's fun getting the community involved with the questions and stuff.
Yeah. It's always
Builds
a
up
good
the
time.
energy. But now we've come down. It's been a few days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've watched this episode multiple times.
I have.
Listened to the podcast.
I have.
Yeah, I mean, an hour and a half episode with open eyes. It was called, and there's a cool poster they released for this final episode.
With Logan.
Yeah,
of
with
all
Logan.
people.
But I kind of like it because the city's like fading away. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really cool art. Let's just pick it up, I guess, where we left off. We had Logan's funeral last episode. It
Mhm.
ends, and basically, at least Kendall, Roman's kind of teetering. He's obviously emotionally unstable.
At the end of the episode or the end of the funeral?
The end of the episode. Oh, yeah.
He runs off into the crowd of
No, yeah, I know.
protesters.
But I'm saying, yeah, he's mentally unstable. But I'm
Yeah.
saying that
You said
Kendall, it's
teetering,
pretty
and I'm like,
much
what do you mean?
Kendall versus Shiv. That's how he ends it. He says to Roman, how about the Roy boys versus
Mm-hmm.
the Shiv the Shiv? And then we bump into this episode, and they're like, where's Roman? Roman's off, obviously leaving in there. We thought maybe he would die in that last scene there, but obviously he came out. He's all right.
Yeah.
But they find out that they get a call from their mom,
Mhm.
and he is in the Caribbean with her on
So
her little
she's-
getaway.
She set something up.
Yes.
That, like, she was going to have a dinner or something, and she's already invited all of them.
Yep.
And she calls Shiv and says, are you going to be able to make it? And Shiv's like, well, is Roman there?
Yeah.
Because they need Roman the vote.
Right.
So at the beginning of the episode, Shiv is still on board. She thinks she's going to be CEO, so she needs Roman to vote
Yep.
in favor. And, yeah, go ahead, go. I've
So
done
then-
2 hours of talking about
Yeah.
this, so I want to
So
hear
then
your
Kendall and Shiv run off, obviously, to get Roman, and he just doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. Clearly, he just wants this all to be over with, and they kind of have this back and forth, whatever. But then we switch to Tom. Tom has a meeting
thoughts.
with
Madsen.
Mr. Madsen. Now, Tom, before this meeting, is like asking Greg, "I'm gonna get fired. Like, do you know I'm gonna get fired?" He's pretty much thinks he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Sits down with Madsen and finds out that Madsen actually wants him to be the American puppet CEO.
Yeah, the pain sponge.
Didn't see this coming because this entire season, in a good way, has totally made us think Tom had no shot, right?
Okay, so
the way Shiv was talking about him and the way Mattson was talking about him.
I have insider information.
Okay.
So, well, I don't really. I listened to the podcast afterwards,
Yeah.
the after show podcast, and the Skarsgård who plays Mattson was interviewed, and he kind of revealed how he picked Tom.
Okay.
And in episode 9, there's when Greg shows up and he says, "Hey, sexy, how you doing?" All that stuff, right? And then, when Mattson's talking to Shiv and she goes, "Where's?" or Mattson says, "Where's the hubby?" or whatever, and Shiv says he's working.
Yeah.
That was apparently the moment where he realized, like, wow, you're gonna miss Logan Roy's funeral
To work.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Like, you're committed. You know what I mean? Oh, when I heard that in the podcast, everything,
it all clicked.
It made me feel like such a moron for sitting here saying it's not Tom, because we've been saying, like, oh, it can't be Tom. Probably not gonna be Greg, but it'd be cool if it was Greg.
Yeah.
Like, and I knew they'd catch me somewhere. That to me is like one of the only highlights of the episode, was the fact that they duped me there, and there was something that we could have realized that we didn't.
Right.
Which makes it brilliant in my opinion. But go ahead.
Well, and also during this conversation, Mattson tests Tom right before he says that, and he's like, "Listen,
dude, I thought it was so messed up.
Yeah,
it was such
he
a messed
tells him
up.
to his face, this own guy, that he wants to bang his wife."
I'll put it to you this way: if I was Tom, I would not have been CEO.
And I thought Tom might stand up for himself in this point, but I think the bottom line is Tom is so removed from Shiv emotionally now that he was just like, I'm not gonna even bother doing this. And then the test works. He doesn't speak up to Mattson, and I think that definitely is the final click for Mattson, that I can say whatever I want to this guy. I can make him do whatever I want.
Yeah, he literally says, he goes, "I think it would be awkward if Shiv was CEO because I want to fuck her." That's like what he says.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I feel like, is that awkward for you?" Like, I feel like that's awkward. And he goes, Tom's response to that question is so Tom.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. It's so Tom Wamsgans. Like, he literally says, "No, we're both men."
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yep. He's just trying to save face for his own career at that point.
But it's such a Tom answer. Like,
it is.
Oh, it's so funny. Go ahead.
But in a weird way, we made fun of Tom for a while throughout this series for kind of being the suck up. But then at the end, like, the sucking up kind of paid off. In this way. But I think, I think back after this episode on the end of season 3, when obviously in Italy, they find out basically that someone told Logan and his wife, or his ex-wife, that they were coming, that the Roys were coming to challenge him, right? No one knows who it was, and then Tom walks through. And you see Logan put his hand on his shoulder, and you have that great Michael and Kay scene with Shiv and Tom. And that, to me, looking back at that moment, was like Logan appointing Tom. I know that Logan didn't choose Tom, but from a visual, like, storytelling standpoint, looking back at that, it's interesting. And I think Logan did have respect for Tom because he took the fall he was willing to go to prison. And Logan says to him when he says this, "I'll remember this." So
yeah, but I think, Mattson, the reason he didn't choose Shiv, because he said it in the meeting with Tom, and it was really, it is a cool moment. It seems it's so graphic the way that that he says the stuff about Shiv, like, that are so shocking to hear someone tell someone that he wants to, sleep with their wife, that you can kind of overlook it. But he literally says, I saw how Shiv was going to screw me over. She was very aggressive about the India thing.
Yeah.
So because of that, like, that's why I'm not doing it. Like,
and it was a petty
She
thing.
screwed herself. Yeah, but like, he saw the potential. Like, yes, it's one thing, like, for you to be on my side, but now I see that you have something on me.
Yeah.
You're out.
It's also the reason he didn't choose Roman or Kendall, too, is because he knows he couldn't control them.
Yeah.
Any of those kids.
We'll be back in 1 second. I'm going to switch RJ's camera around real quick. When I put the two... So, that's the thing, right? Is that Mattson literally says, "I don't need a partner. I need a pain sponge." And when he says pain sponge, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. He says pain sponge so that he can get under, but he doesn't actually define, like, what it is that he does for a living. He goes, "When I get under the hood so I can
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck does that
What
mean?
does that mean?
Like,
Yeah.
What are you
It's
gonna
very
do?
ambiguous with that stuff.
Very, yeah. I just thought that was super interesting. And then, and I mentioned this in the live stream, but it is like watching it back again and again. It's like the coolest moment. Was Greg with the translator thing?
Just Greg being Greg, what he's done for 4
but
seasons.
He's so sneaky.
Yeah.
Like, it was so good. That was so good.
And then, so obviously, after that happens, Tom tells Greg is that they're going to be fine.
Yes.
He doesn't tell Greg that he's going to be CEO.
And when he's listening to the translation, it doesn't say
also
Tom
doesn't
either.
mean that.
Right.
So I feel like Greg's move would have been different if he had known it was Tom. But Greg goes into the bathroom. He calls Kendall. He says, listen, they're interviewing other alternative CEOs. Kendall tells Shiv. Shiv gets pissed off. Obviously, she gets screwed over by Mattson. And that brings the 3 siblings together for about 20 minutes.
We also find out
20 minutes.
We also find out when they verify that the guy who used to run Walter,
Lawrence
was interviewed to be CEO as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's been at this for a while.
Right.
He's been looking around for a while.
And that's why in the car when he called Shiv, he doesn't say her. He says an American CEO.
And I said this to you. I go, he didn't say Shiv either. I was like, oh, Jesus. He didn't say who it was.
Yeah.
But he also, the way that it's confirmed is that I think it's Carolina.
Yeah, they don't say who he's on the phone with.
No.
Which was interesting.
Sends Shiv the the announcement, the publicity statement.
And it's like blanked
XXX.
out.
Yeah. It's just insert name here kind of deal, which I thought was interesting.
So this brings the Roy kids together. They have this. They go by the beach and they're talking. They're like, "Listen, we need to choose one person. Right?
Yes.
It's not a good look if we choose 3 or 2. We need to choose one person to get around." Kendall, obviously, Roman just doesn't want it at this point. He kind
of does. I mean, well, he says he does, but I mentioned
but he
this
doesn't
earlier.
deep down. Yeah,
Right.
and Kendall just pitches, and he eventually convinces them that they're going to go with him for a time being. They crown him king. They have this great, funny scene where they're kind of kids again in the kitchen, playing with what's the guy's name? That their mom's the stepfather's
the cheese. Oh yeah, the cheese is great. The cheese is
and
great.
I don't think we've ever seen them really laughing together, all smiling like this in that childlike manner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also juxtaposes that idea that they are children and just the way they act, just in normal. They're. But I thought this was a great scene. But what this scene told me was that this wasn't going to work out.
Okay.
The fact that it was very positive and they were all getting along to me was like, okay, so Kendall's definitely not going to win this.
Interesting. But you could have said that for the beach thing too. I love, first of all right, because I have a very low. I did not like this series finale. Okay.
You didn't like it?
Oh
wow! See, we haven't talked about this.
I know, and I've had some time because I had initial reactions to it, like okay, whatever, it's fine. The more I think about it, the more time I've had since the Sunday stream. I just like it less and less.
Oh wow!
And not because of, but like the overall thing, I liked, right? Like I liked that it was Tom. I liked that it was that we ended these characters. I feel like they could have. It felt cheap. That's what it was. It's the story to me that felt cheap.
Did you? Because I have most of the reception I've seen has been positive. People liked it.
But
I have the critiques I have seen were that it felt a bit like they sped toward the end. Is that how you feel?
I feel like there were too many loose ends, and I feel like they went too slow and then too quick.
Okay. Well, like what loose ends?
What happens with the election?
But see, that doesn't matter.
It could matter.
But I don't think it matters.
Well, it doesn't matter because what happens with the
But to me, like,
because Tom's gonna be Nerd Soup said this right before you walked in. I was watching Nerd Soup on this, and they were saying how They made a great point. They were like, Tom's only gonna be there for 6 months while Lucas makes all his moves, and then he's not gonna be CEO either.
See, I don't think so.
Why?
Because I think Tom's probably gonna do a decent job because I think he knows he's willing to accept when people are better at his job than him. And that's why he's keeping Jerry around and Carolina, and he's bumping. I think he's going to put a good support group around. He's not going to be Logan, but I think he's going to know who to relegate things to. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, you see him when he walks in after the vote goes 7-6.
When Tom comes around the
That's
corner
what I'm
with
saying.
the people behind him,
His
he's never
posture-
looked bigger than that. Like he looked
exactly.
amazing.
So I think Tom is up for the challenge. I do. As long as he has the right people around him. And I think as long as he does what Mattson says and stays in good relations to him, why not? Why would Mattson want to remove him?
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
I just felt like, so did it need to be an hour and a half?
You didn't like it that long?
I'm
It
asking.
sped by to me.
Did it need to be an hour?
Considering how much was
If
in
you
it, yeah.
remove this, so they have like 2 fun scenes. Okay,
Yeah.
You have the typical Succession scene, which I feel like was the water, and then they agree that it's going to be him. And if you would cut right from them floating near the platform with Kendall on the platform, right? If you just like cut right from that and skipped the kitchen scene, and they were just leaving the next morning.
Yep. But I like the kitchen scene.
I'm not saying I didn't like the kitchen scene.
Okay.
I'm asking what's needed. That's what I'm saying. Was it a needed scene? Did it drive anything in the story at all?
Yeah, because I think this scene makes them all going against each other in the room hit harder. Because you're watching the scene, you're like, shit, like this is the closest they've ever been.
I'm not trying to argue. I'm saying for me, though, it didn't, because I knew that like one little thing goes wrong, like Shiv gets a present that she doesn't like, the scorpion thing, and now she's going to screw everybody, including her husband, over.
Right.
Speaking of that, I want your opinion on where, let's pretend that there's a season 5 that doesn't exist, but just for the characters' lives, where does why?
Well, I was going to save that for the end. I had some questions.
Oh, fair enough.
Fair
enough. All right, let's continue. We'll wrap up the
I was
synopsis.
I was just going to say, what was the other scene? Is the other scene that you thought was like a fun scene when they watch Logan on the tape?
So that was, to me, that was the most impactful, best scene in the whole series.
Oh, see, now to me, I think that scene was unnecessary.
I loved it. I
Really?
loved every second of it, because it was they're walking around doing the stickers on everything. So how cool is this? This is another moment, much like the Kendall rap moment, where they did one take.
Yes,
and that was
yeah.
So I just heard it on the thing. Jeremy Mylod, whatever his Mark Mylod, was interviewed on the podcast, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They filmed that dinner scene with Logan on an iPhone.
Oh, that's fun.
Sent it to editing. And the way that it worked out for them to have their locations, they only had that location there and in that apartment for that shoot for one day.
Yeah.
They filmed with Logan in the dining room, whatever, and then filmed this scene where they're watching Logan that same day in the afternoon.
That's cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And
that was Logan's birthday that they missed, right? At the beginning of the season.
Connor says that it was like a few weeks before or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was a little while back, but they didn't interact. So Brian Cox was not there with the kids at all, the actors.
Yeah.
Like they filmed everything on the same day, and that is the first take, their only take, their real reactions. Like that's what they used.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cool. I mean, it's really impactful. I know you've seen it on the Wilco Instagram. There's a little clip from it on there. I just recently interviewed my grandfather about his life.
Yeah.
Just, before he kicks it. And I did a little like his birthday, some BTS stuff that I have from like 2 years ago for my grandfather's birthday. And like those home movie things, I think it really opens up to
Brings it down to earth.
Right, but this is Logan Roy that we're talking about. And the whole series has been there. Logan hasn't really had an arc. You know what I mean? He's just always this like...
You've had slowly more things revealed about why he is the way he is, but he as a person hasn't changed.
At all.
Right.
At all. And so this really shows an aspect of Logan's life that I love and admire, and is why I always give a little bit of leeway and a little bit of credence and a little bit of credit to people like Logan. Because I'm like, there's more to the story. Give it a second. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about your opinion on this finale.
Sure.
I'm curious. I want to know deeper why it. Not that you didn't like it, but why you weren't completely satisfied with it.
Well, I think the biggest critique is that the runtime was not needed, and it makes it feel cheap to me when I feel like there's stuff that's out of place.
So you're saying you would have been satisfied with this finale as long as they cut this kitchen scene out?
Yeah, I feel like the pacing would have been better. There wasn't enough of, for me, and I talked about this, and people rolled their eyes at me, and I was getting some flack in the chat on Sunday about it, which is totally justified, like to each their own, whatever. But it was a weird switch because it doesn't benefit. I don't believe.
Are you talking about Shiv?
Yeah, I don't believe that there's that there's a good enough relationship there with Tom that she's gonna be like, okay. Like, I think Tom's gonna be like, I don't need you for your money anymore, and that's what he cares about, as he admitted in episode like 7 or 8.
So I agree with you. I think that Shiv's flip could have been set up better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, but for me, I think it is how she says it, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that she was the last person to vote. Because
that's what I'm saying.
Right. And I think if she was the second person to vote, the fact that it came down to her and everything kind of got put in her hands, like she was the one making that decision, I think affected her. And I do think that really she never thought Kendall would be it. You know what I'm saying? I think she kind of it's very easy to say it, but then when you are actually making that decision at the board meeting, I think it went to her head. And I think that she kind of, at least to me, has kind of accepted that, like, Lady Macbeth, like, she's going to be Tom's. At least she's still involved somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because if Kendall, we were listening to the Nerd Soup podcast, shout out Nerd Soup, but they were saying, like, if Kendall became CEO, he said it in the other episode. He says, listen, I love my brothers and sisters, but I'm not in love with them. He says that to Hugo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't.
Okay.
What?
Okay. I feel like Kendall is so much easier to manipulate than Tom would be. You know?
Not from Mattson's perspective.
I'm saying like from Shiv. Like Tom is not.
Yeah, but Shiv
Tom's
and Roman
done with
wouldn't
Shiv.
have any power if he was CEO.
But he's still the brother.
Yeah.
And if Roman wanted to be on the board again, you can pull it. You can pull at Kendall's heartstrings. We've seen that Kendall is manipulatable. Is what I'm saying. They just, I guess, Shiv decided that if she can't be it, then nobody can be it. I guess I don't know. It was a weird moment because of the wonderful things he did. I'm just kidding. Because we just had these great 2 scenes of how much they all love each other and everything. How does it make sense that she flips? That's why it doesn't make sense. Now, if it had been see, you know what? Okay, can I tell you what I think would have been more interesting?
Yeah.
If they're all on board and Stewie fucks them over.
Yeah, that would have been long.
That could have been super interesting. Okay, and then it's revealed that Stewie had this other deal with something else.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever. That would have been more interesting. But even Stewie is on board. Like, even, like, all these people that you think are going to screw Kendall and all the kids over and everything. Nope, it's Shiv. And it just...
No, that's a very fair criticism.
It was just bizarre.
I do think it was, like, jumped a bit where there could have been more in between, but to me,
that
like,
more
I didn't
that
think
you're
it was
talking
against
about,
her
so
character.
that more that could have been in between that you just said, I think we could have solved the setup in one scene. I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What if this season ended with the funeral? What if that was the last episode and it ends with Roman and Kendall teaming up against Shiv and we had another season of this?
No, I don't. I think it's too much.
See, that's 1 or 2 episodes more, I think, works, but if you bump into a season, it crosses the line of too much.
It's
right?
like,
So this was tough to do. You know what I'm saying? Could they have done another episode or 2, maybe, to set that up more? Part of me, I think, as much as I love that Tom and Mattson scene, how good would it have been if all we found out was that he was interviewing someone else, and then the only time you find out it's Tom is when he turns the corner. You know, and no one knows.
Okay, that would have been. I think it would have been the
it would
greatest.
have hit because you don't know who's coming around the corner, and it's just Tom, and then the music plays.
Yeah,
and they all turn their heads.
I mean,
and it's him.
That would have been such a reveal. Everybody would have shit
I think
themselves.
the reason that wouldn't have worked though is because as an audience member, we'd be like, well, why the hell did Mattson choose Tom? You know what I'm saying? We needed that scene to understand why Mattson chose him, but I do think the reveal itself would have been it would have been more impactful, and for those who aren't satisfied with how it ended, that might have switched it a bit. But I think you needed that scene because then we'd be sitting here saying, how did he pick Tom? He hates Tom. You know? It's tough. I mean, it's tough to end the series. And I don't think you're ever going to please everyone 100%. I don't think this is a perfect finale, but to me, I felt satisfied, and that's like all I can ask for when it comes to an ending.
I felt satisfied.
Okay.
I'm being a prick to be a prick. Like, that's
right.
what we do.
Yeah.
But like, and like, who the fuck am I in comparison to like Jeremy Armstrong?
Right.
Like, maybe someday, but I'm just saying, like, I'm nothing in comparison. And especially with regard to his series, like, it's his series. He wrote it.
But
what?
Let's talk about what he said though, Jesse Armstrong, in regards to your loose ends thing.
Jesse Armstrong, yeah. Is it Jesse Jeremy Armstrong?
Jeremy Strong is
Jeremy Strong, Jesse Armstrong.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So Jesse Armstrong said inside the episode, he said, yes, this could continue on, but he said that the story has always been about whether the kids are going to get it or not. And that's why, to me, the loose ends with the election don't matter. All that matters is the kids didn't get it. That's the end of the show. They talk about, like, in screenwriting, like, when you get to the end of a feature and the character hits his goal, the movie's over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So once they didn't get it, once Kendall loses and they're all out, the show is over. So that's why I was not thinking about the election at all, in that sense.
I know, but we were okay.
And
I
also,
don't disagree, but we were at the end of last week.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, and then it's all of a sudden, it's almost a similar. So instead of like when Logan dies and the way they all react to Logan dying, that's kind of how I feel about the show. It's just over. So it's like, we had all these hopes and dreams and all this. It's over.
Well, let's talk about
go.
how it ends, because it definitely ends with a lot to infer. It doesn't give you everything. So let's talk about each of these characters' endings here. We can start with
Shiv.
Tom and Shiv. So obviously their last scene together, Shiv gets in the car. She congratulates Tom. He's like, oh, no. And he puts his hand out. And you see that shift, the power dynamic. Just once Shiv was up top, now Tom is. And really...
Well, here he's in the...
Sure.
Here she's on top.
My question...
I would say that Shiv's in the palm of Tom's hand.
Yes, literally, yes. Do you think Shiv is now destined to be her mother?
Think about what you just said and ask me again. Is Shiv destined to be her mother?
Yes. Like...
Oh, to become...
become
someone
her...
like... Sure.
Because now...
Sure.
She's kind of married to the Logan.
Yeah,
she has the
she's
kid.
Nothing.
And he might probably get rid of her in 6 months.
I don't see why he wouldn't.
Right.
Wouldn't you? She has said throughout this entire series, all she has said is, I don't really love you. You're with me for my She has done nothing but emasculate and beat this guy down to nothing.
Yeah. Which makes me think, like, more back on what you're saying about her decision, because initially I'm like, oh, well, she probably would rather have Tom be CEO and be his wife. But then again, like, maybe if the relationship was on a better foot, that decision would have made more sense.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's that's fair.
Because now she's nothing to the company.
Right.
She's not even...
You're right. Yeah. That is fair.
She's out.
I think
she
if
has
there's
no
one
say
big
in
criticism,
anything.
that would be it.
Right.
Shiv, and I've seen a lot of talk about that.
I don't like this decision that
let's
she made.
talk
It was
about,
weird and out of place.
I mean, it is something
Roman.
she'd do. I just think the development needed to be there.
How do you think Roman ended up?
Well, you get this weird smirk, like... What do you think it was? I think most people interpret it as like he's free.
Oh yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah,
'cause he's what he was in the beginning of the show.
He's a playboy. He's gonna retire
he's
with his
removed,
billions.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a bachelor, and he's gonna screw a whole bunch. He's gonna have gangbangs and martinis and have. Oh, the martini thing is an interesting thing. I saw someone talk about how the martini is Jerry's favorite drink. Thought that was interesting. And that's what he orders, and he kind of smirks about it. So I mean,
they got a huge payout. None of these guys are going to be short of cash.
Oh, that's the thing, right? All three kids are multi-billionaires. Hundreds of whatever. Hundreds of millions at least.
And I think Roman deserved this ending. Like we said,
I think he's right where he's supposed to be as a character.
Yeah. I think the only reason Roman thought he wanted it is because Logan told him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because throughout the entire series, whenever one of the kids is drifting away from Logan, he pulls them and he's like, you're the person.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And he did that to Roman several times. And it tricked him into thinking he wanted it when he really didn't. And I think that's good for him. I'm glad he kind of got that happy ending. Well, let's talk about Kendall.
Can you imagine if you were Logan? like, let's just say for the sake of conversation that there's like some sort of afterlife where you can see down onto the, forget what you, I only say that because of like viewers and everybody's gonna have a different opinion about this kind of stuff. But if you're Logan, are you not rolling in your grave? You die and 4 days later your company's gone. It's just gone.
But did he care? Like Shiv said.
I think Waystar Royco is the only thing that Logan cared about. I think it's the only thing he truly gave a shit about.
You would think, though, that he would have set it up better.
Yes, I know.
If he he cared about after he died.
The fact that he didn't have a full medical team on that plane with him when he was going to another country after he has a stroke in the very first episode is very bizarre to me.
Yeah.
The fact that he had these weird now listen,
stubborn.
If he had everything figured out, we'd have no show. That's what makes it a drama. That's what makes it good. Yeah. So I'm not complaining about that. But you're right. I mean, this is his baby. He's created this empire from nothing. This poor boy from Scotland who had to sit there and stare at his brother. 3 days, two brothers communicating with their eyes. It's such a good moment. This kid came from nothing. Built an empire, and it's gone 3 days after he's gone. The company's gone too. Well, to this Swedish idiot. Like
to kind of go back to like about the kids and that whole little fight scene that they had, right?
Oh, it was so uncomfortable.
To mention Nerd Soup again, they had a great line, and I don't know if you got to it yet, but they said Logan raised 3 Fredos when he needed a Michael.
That's a great line.
And
shout out to Nerd Soup. That's a great line.
And it's true though, you know? And no one was Michael.
Yeah. That's true.
And I think like Roman says it, he says we're nothing. And I think in that moment Roman realizes like none of this shit matters and I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
If you think about it, just to kind of go off of that, Tom is kind of like a Michael. Different, hear me out. Michael's always very strong.
Yeah.
Okay? He's very, very strong-minded, strong-willed character. But the idea of Michael Corleone is that he is the one person in the family who wants no part of his father's business.
Yeah.
He wants nothing to do with it, and it goes to him. Tom is only looking out to keep his friggin' job. Yeah. He's not wanting to be CEO.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about who's CEO. He cares about whether or not he's getting fired.
Yeah, right.
The whole series revolves around the fact that Tom is not one of the kids. So his character's drive is not toward do I take over? It's do I get to be involved at all?
Right.
You know? Do I get to feed my family or feed myself basically? And so he technically is. He's the one that didn't care about being CEO. He gets the job.
Yep.
And the 3 Fredos that cared about this and that and everything else, none of them win.
I found a lot of I don't think they were deliberate, but I found a lot of Godfather parallels.
Well, it's a business.
And I think like the way that Shiv and Tom end in that car was very like again Michael and Kay.
Sure.
Kind of that weird relationship in there where there's a lot of tension. Kendall. Let's talk about it. It's you know what I loved about this season is after every episode I think we picked someone different who we thought was going to win. And I think after last episode you asked me and I said Kendall. I said it was going to be about Kendall becoming his father. He did become his father.
Literally with his bodyguard walking behind him.
But he just didn't have the biggest aspect of being his father, and that's the company. What'd you think of this scene? I thought it was a great callback to Logan walking in the park by himself with Colin. Now, you said to me you thought when Tom and Shiv were going to pull out of that.
Oh, I said it on the live stream. You did watch the live stream, right? Good,
good.
Good.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
That would have been so good.
I know.
I mean, I'm happy. Listen, really quick. Let me just clarify.
Yeah.
I'm happy that didn't happen.
No,
but it would have been dope if that happened.
I think if Kendall killed himself at the end of this episode and that's where we left the series, that'd be a tough way to end it. You know what I'm saying?
Which is what. So just to go off of what you texted me about him jumping in the water. So Jeremy Strong said...
let's talk about that. Yeah,
Jeremy Strong said that, they did multiple takes of this walking through the thing, and that there's like a little guardrail there. And in one of the takes, he gets over the guardrail, and then the bodyguard guy runs up to him and like stops him from going over. So he doesn't actually complete the objective there.
Yeah.
But I like that he just sits on the bench. I think it would have been interesting. Like I felt, you know what? I feel like part of the reason I wanted him to fall on Tom's car as it's pulling out was because I don't feel like there was enough. Hear me out. I feel like there wasn't enough drama in the episode. Like there was no. Like they just. It was almost. This is me who bitches about things not being realistic all the time, and then me wanting something to not be realistic. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here, but like, it was too real. in the sense that like they just lost and everybody just kind of goes home. Like,
I don't know. I thought the
nothing happened.
I thought the drama with Shiv bringing up Kendall killing that kid. I thought the drama with Kendall like going to gouge Roman's eyes out because he attacked his kids.
But like what would have happened if Kendall had gone through with it, and then you have someone like Tom who told Shiv that she basically killed her father, right? And then she actually kills her brother, and then she would have killed two people.
But to me, if that happened, we'd be like, it'd be too much. I think we'd get lifted out.
Of course it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be like, yeah, this is ridiculous, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. I just think it would be a kind of a funny thing.
I like when a show leaves you wondering what's next. You know what I'm saying? And I do like that we don't know what Kendall was thinking when he sat down on that bench. What do you think? Let's pretend that this continues forward.
Oh,
does he kill himself?
If he does, it's through drugs and alcohol, like on accident.
I agree. I don't think he jumps off a building or anything. No.
Shiv mentions let's go back for I'm sorry, we're jumping all over the place here, but Shiv did mention when they were sitting there discussing when it's first confirmed to her that she's not going to be CEO. Mm-hmm. She goes, so like the 100?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could.
Maybe.
They could. They're going to need something. They're going to get bored. I think Roman's out.
Yeah.
Roman's done. He's going to be Mr. Playboy Mansion.
I think Kendall and Shiv are, she's dead to him.
That's fair. Maybe he tries to start something.
Maybe.
Who knows?
The question is, does he have the wherewithal to do it at this stage?
Yeah.
You know?
God, it's so funny. So funny. I don't think Logan would have lost. You know, when you say things like, and I know you don't mean literally, but when you say things like, you know, Kendall became his father, Logan was smarter than Madsen.
Well, what did Tom say to Logan?
Stupid.
What did Tom say to Kendall in season 2 or 3? He said when Kendall asked him to be on his side, he said, you know, I want to or whatever, but your father's never gotten fucked. And you get fucked all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of, and it's funny because I sent you that TikTok a few days before this came out of that girl explaining the theory behind Tom's name and the triple play thing.
Yeah.
Do you think, found that interesting.
And someone asked me about that in the chat too, the triple
So you clearly didn't watch my TikTok.
I did.
Yeah.
At the time that you sent it to me, I thought it was bullshit.
Right.
You know, because listen, there's so much symbolism in the show.
Well, Shiv.
The names of each episode are lines from a poem.
Yep.
That's
so the thing, though. Did you hear that too? It might have been in that article with Jeremy Strong, but the author of the poem that this was titled after killed himself by jumping into a frozen river.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, come on, man. There's so much, there's so many layers. I think it's really just from a filmmaking standpoint, and this will be interesting for you as a writer too, it just goes to show how much research needs. Jesse Armstrong said, so basically, if you haven't seen it or listened to it, you should definitely go listen to the podcast. It's in 2 parts for this finale. Jesse Armstrong and Jeremy Strong are in the first one, and Lucas Madsen, Skarsgård, is in the first part, and then Mark Mylod is in the second part. It's really,
you should watch that the Vanity Fair one.
Oh, I will.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
With Mark Mylod.
Yeah.
I did. We said he's crying every day. Yeah. Drama. Directors, you know how we are. Right. Dramatic. So, but the interesting thing to me with that, with Jesse Armstrong said that he wrote something that was actually based around the Murdochs originally, like a bio series.
Yeah.
That was going to be like this, but it was really based around Fox News. And he said he wrote it years ago, and he hadn't done enough research, and it just didn't land well.
Right.
And so he threw it away, or put it on the back burner, and then came back to it 11 years later or something, and developed it into this.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to just.
But there's no way that let's say you came to me with an idea we're gonna make a web series, or we're gonna make a movie about this thing, and you had done no research on the subject of business or anything like that. Right. Like for the funeral scene, they hired a celebrity funeral director to come in.
Yeah.
The people that carry the casket, they're celebrity funeral pallbearers.
Yeah, I can't imagine how many consultants Jesse Armstrong had on the business aspects.
But what I'm saying is, you can't even write a story about these characters if you don't know anything about business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't know what Logan Roy's day-to-day is going to be like, you can't make him a character.
Exactly, yeah.
It just goes to show how many, I can't even imagine
No,
the research. It's what his Google history looks like. Like I can't even imagine. Like the amount of time spent just before. Like another one is J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. She developed the entire world. And I know this has nothing to do with this, but hear me out. She developed the whole world of Harry Potter, the storyline, every spell, everything for 5 years before she started writing the first book.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, the amount of research. That's what makes something really good, in my opinion. When you see these movies that or TV shows or whatever that just get pumped out with some room of like you have a showrunner and 10 writers around the table, and nothing really lands, and it feels really cheap. It's because no fucking research goes into this stuff, and not to get like overly over the top with it, but like when you really care, when you're passionate about a story and a character, and you take the time to develop the backstory, that's why it's so important. Like, you have to know every aspect of their lives. It's super cool to me. I don't know. Like, Tom's mother is a lawyer from Cincinnati or whatever it is. He's from, like, Ohio. Like these references, the polio thing, like the ship coming across. Like, that's so cool. You have to have those things because they might get referenced later. And they help the actor with the portrayal of the character. I don't know. It's super cool.
And Jeremy Strong said that Jesse Armstrong gave him Kendall's entire backstory in season 1. Yeah. About the thing, like Logan telling him that he'd be at 7 years old. Like, he knew that in season 1.
Okay, I do have to say this because I did technically promise that I would tell this story. I'm going to give a short version of it. Yeah. But speaking of Jeremy Strong and just the way that he lives as the character on set and everything else. I said that I dealt with a similar situation. No names. Yeah. But you were there too on that set, where a character. It's how do you feel about actors living as their character, or like wanting to be called?
I've never worked with it, so I don't know.
If you have if on set, like, how would you feel if there was a character? Let's say you directed. Let's say you were Mark Mylod, and if Jeremy Strong was like, "Yeah, just call me Kendall," like while we're and like refer to him as Kendall and everything.
I don't know. I mean, listen,
it's a pain in the ass, man. It's a pain in the ass.
As long as you're not like causing like issues with people, do whatever works. But
yeah, I guess.
If you're like Jared Leto sending like dead rats to people, like when you're playing the Joker, that's crossing a line. But yeah.
Sure.
I mean, listen, he's got one of the most iconic TV performances ever now. So,
yeah.
And speaking of that, I think we should leave it on this question, Nick. Where does this rank all time for you, dramas?
I would say number 2.
Behind Sopranos?
Yeah. If it wasn't for the Sopranos, we wouldn't have this show. That's the bottom line. Yeah. No. It was the first.
Yes.
1996. Yep. First TV show ever to be filmed like a movie on film. In a cinematic universe where there was no censorship. They said, fuck the FCC. Yep. They said that we're going to tell the story legit. If they had done The Sopranos on cable TV, how boring of a show would that have been?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, to me, my 4, in no particular order.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
I can't rank
do that.
them.
You have to. You just said, where does it rank to me? That's the question. You have to rank them,
It's in my top 4.
You suck
along with
ass.
Sopranos, Breaking Bad, and Game of Thrones.
Oh, yes. Breaking Bad doesn't even rank for me.
Game of Thrones
doesn't even rank for me. It doesn't even rank for me because it started off as a cable bullshit cheap show.
That's your weirdest take that I'll never agree with.
It's a show about meth.
Yeah.
That was done on cable.
So what? It gets pretty fucking dark.
Not dark enough. Have you ever met a meth head? Have you ever seen a documentary, like a Vice documentary on meth?
No.
That's why it ranks for you.
But it wasn't about the people on meth. It was about people making meth.
Which also was not realistic at all. Sopranos is realistic. This is realistic.
You made meth before, Nick?
No, dude. I'm saying if you go watch anything with like it's like these people, it's like.
You're not going to turn me away from Breaking Bad.
I'm not trying to turn you away. I'm saying that it just doesn't even, over like Game of Thrones. I don't know.
Yeah, because the way Game of Thrones end the last 2 seasons really soured.
And I don't even dislike Breaking Bad. I'm not a fan.
No, listen to me.
It's not my top 4.
Season 4 of Game of Thrones at its height is my favorite TV ever. Easy.
And I'm not going to put House of the Dragon.
No, not yet. It's too early.
It's too early. I think it was a very well done season, but it doesn't even rank for me yet.
Yep.
I think that Sopranos, Succession,
Peaky Blinders is up there for me.
Peaky Blinders is definitely in the top 10. I don't know necessarily where I would put it.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad's probably in my top 10. It's not even top 4 though. I don't think.
Better Call Saul was great.
But yeah, that's a House of the Dragon to me, only because it's a knockoff of or a spin-off of Breaking Bad. So like if they did a Sopranos spin-off,
Interesting.
I don't care how good it is. I'd be like, yeah,
whatever. They did.
And it was bad. It was fucking horrible. Yeah. But I don't season 1 of the
True Detective.
that ranks in there.
Yeah, see, I keep those in isolation, the limited series type anthologies.
Yep. Hollywood is another limited series, 1 season I thought was very, very good.
Yeah.
Very well done. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think this was, all in all, the fact that we're able to sit here and talk about it in a positive way, and I'm not angry. And and the thing is, even though I feel like there were certain things that were overdone or underdone or under talked about or left loose hanging or whatever it is, I don't have an answer to the question, what would you do differently? I don't have an answer. So to me, that means it was perfect.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, yes, it would have been cooler if they had left the Tom thing, if they had just dropped one more bomb, and then we find out that it's Tom afterward, and even Greg cut to Greg's face, and he's like, "What?" Like, that would have been so friggin' cool.
Yeah.
But other than that,
yeah,
I have no qualms.
I mean, this was a great show. I love talking about it. I'm sad it's over. I'll probably rewatch it when the dust settles. But now we wait. Now we wait for the next big show to take over. Something always comes in, but we never know what it's going to be. So we shall see. Oh, yeah. We shall see. Well, guys, thank you for watching. What camera should I look?
Small one.
This
right
one?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, the Movie Mob Podcast drops every Friday at 6 p.m. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of Succession, all the other topics. Ask some questions. We'll answer them next week. Like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot, guys. Thank you for all the support. We'll see you next week. How you doing?